Hi, today I want to give you something fun, practical and enjoyable, okay? It's going to use the word theory. Not that word, I hear you say, okay? But music theory doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to be overwhelming, but I'm going to give you some context as well with this. So a little bit finger picking, a bit of folk, a bit of blues, okay? We're going to talk about theory in a very simple way, okay? So let's begin. So, music theory, okay? Forget everything that you know about it for the moment, okay? Just for the moment. You can bring it all back later. But what I want to do is help you study just one musical key, okay? A lot of people learn fragments of theory. I always say, imagine with music theory, there's a massive sheet of paper that's like bigger than, it's a 10 by 10 foot piece of paper, okay? And every little bit of theory on there has been written down. And then some evil, horrible person has come along and got a pair of scissors and just chopped it all up, cut up this piece of paper, shredded it, and then threw it all up in the air, okay? And then it's just all coming down, landed on your head, all these bits of paper. And that contains everything to do with music theory. And then you've got, your job is to get all these fragments of paper, all these little scraps, and piece it all together. That's how it can feel like learning music theory, okay? So what I want to do is just give you something very simple. It's kind of like the equivalent of an A4 sheet of paper with music theory. It's simple, okay, and it's all there, okay? So what we're going to do is just talk about one key, okay? The first thing to do, I always tell my students, is study one key, study in depth, and then you can study other keys later on and cross-reference them, okay? And things will make much more sense if you go deep on one key rather than learning all these little bits of fragments. So the key we're going to choose is the key of G major, okay? So first of all, what do you do with the key of G major? Okay, well, it makes sense to learn the scale. So learn the G major scale if you haven't already. Because everything is built on that, you know, whether you're doing blues, folk, finger picking or whatever, you know, strumming, all the chords, all the notes are all based off the scale. So learn the scale, learn the notes. We're going to do the scale first, then I'll talk about the notes, and then we'll build upon there, okay? So if you like theory, you want to get a good solid grounding with it, then keep watching, okay? So the G major scale, on the low E string, fret 3 and 5, then the A string, 2, 3, 5, the D string, 2, 4, 5, and then you can play it in reverse. Take your time, get comfortable with the scale. There's lots of ways to play the scale, but that's how we're doing it here, just one octave, and the notes then. And the notes in the scale are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, okay? Now there's one sharp note, and that's that F sharp. If you was playing a piano, every note on this in the scale would be a white key, except for that F sharp, which would be a black key, okay? That's just a little bit of a bonus if you wanted to sort of reference it to a piano. All right, so those notes then. Fret 3 of the low E is G, fret 5 of the low E is A. And then set fret 2 of the A string is B, 3 is C, 5 is D. Okay. Then the D string, fret 2 is E, fret 4 is F sharp, fret 5 is G. Okay, so learn that, learn everything we've done so far, the scale shape, the notes, and then learn where those G notes are. We're in the key of G, so you want to be able to know where those G notes are. We've got fret 3 of the low E string, fret 5 of the D string. Okay, those are really good target notes. They are root notes for the scale. So if you wanted to play like little riffs later on, you know, you can do, and you can just use those G notes as target notes. Notice I'm just playing the same riff higher and lower. I call it fretboard hopping, okay? And that's something I talk about in another lesson, which you can see in the description below. Okay, learn the notes, okay? Learn the scale, and then learn the chords, because every one of those notes has a chord based off it. The first chord is G major. Then we've got A minor, B minor, C, and D, E minor. And then the seventh chord is an F sharp, or an F sharp diminished, or F sharp diminished seventh, which I'm playing there. It's a bit of an unusual one, doesn't get used a lot in sort of typical mainstream music. That it gets used in classical and gospel here and there, you know, sporadically. If you ever listen to Stravinsky, the classical composer, you'll hear it in there, but you'll hear it in the occasional tune. There is a tune by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think it's called Road Tripping, if I remember rightly, that uses that chord. Toccata and Fugue by J.S. Bach uses it. You know, we've got this kind of, it's a bit of a villainous sounding chord, but it's cool, it's got context. But the main thing I want to do here is talk about the main chords. You know, the one chord, every chord is given a number as well, and it's all done in order. So in G, you got the G chord, which is the 1, A minor, which is the 2, B minor 3, C major 4, D major 5, E minor 6, and then the F sharp diminished 7th. Okay? And you'll notice, you might have to watch this video a few times, and I highly recommend you watch it at least 10 times over the next year, because it will make a lot more sense then. You'll notice though, the 1, 4 and 5 are all majors. So G is 1, C is 4, D is 5. Okay, very important to know that. A lot of music from the blues is based around that 1, 4, 5, you know, whether it's just sort of strummed in like a kind of like a pop context, or whether it's kind of like done in a bluesy context where we add 7th chords to the G, to the C, to the D. You know, or whether we're turning them into like power chords and doing a shuffle. You know, that sort of thing, which I teach a lot, and then you can add riffs. You know, so you could do all sorts of little bluesy stuff like that. But you know, you could strum these chords in a kind of laid back, modern, sort of folky, poppy kind of context. You know, where you add in little sort of hammer-ons and pull-offs, or just notes added on. Don't have to do pull-offs. But notice we're just working with the 1, 4, 5 chords there. Then you've got the minor chords, which are 2, 3 and 6, okay? So always remember that. The 1, 4, 5 are always major in every major key. The 2, 3 and 6 are always minor. You know, 2 is A minor, 3 is B minor, and 6 is E minor. Okay, so then you can put it like together a chord progression, like the 50s chord progression, which is really popular, and that's the 1, 6, 4, 5. So do you know what those chords are? The 1, 6, 4, 5. You might have to pause the video for a moment. Hopefully you'll be making notes, because like I say, there's no way I'd expect anybody to remember all this information first time of watching this video. But the 1, 6, 4, 5 are G, E minor, C, and D. You can have a little jam with me. We'll just play those chords through. I'll strum, like the ultimate strum pattern as I call it, which is down, down, up, down, up. Okay, and we'll do that for 2 bars on each chord. G, E minor, C, D. 1, 6, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You can just have some fun playing around with those chords up and down the fretboard, doing different things, you know, like learning dyads of them. I'm just going to throw some stuff at you here, you know, where we're going to kind of do this sort of thing. You know, that's the same chord progression played in a different way. But see, I'm going deeper and deeper there. You know, there's loads of things you can do. You can play them as little sort of triads, jangly chords. There you go. I mean, that's just going deeper, but the main thing I wanted to do there with this video is give you some background of the theory, give you some basics, just studying one key, and then realizing, hopefully helping you realize them, and inspiring you and making you think, actually, you can use this one key and do all these different things up and down the fretboard. You know, you could even do some sort of like Travis picking, Chet Atkins style. that sort of stuff is just a bit random, you know, but just using the G and C chord that. But you see, I know how to play a lot of things in the key of G. And then once I've learnt all those things, you know, like I have in the past, then transferring them to other keys later on isn't too difficult because I've got a grounding. Like I said before, a lot of people tend to go wide when they learn music theory. They learn bits of the key of C, bits of the key of G, bits of E and F, and it's just like, oh, where does it all relate? But if you just focus on one key and then go deep, dig that hole really deep and study it, it's a really good way of playing and learning. You know, it's not the sort of thing that happens overnight. This is the sort of thing you do over years, okay? But you have one principal key to really study, and then you can have a little dabble with the other keys as well. But if you really go deep on one key for a while, even if it's just for a few weeks, if you're an intermediate player, or if you're a beginner, you want to spread this out over quite a while if you're a beginner. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just little and often, as I always say with music theory. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did and you want more from me, go to fingerstyle101.com/academy. There's plenty more lessons there. I tend to teach a lot of things in a really kind of like logical, easy to follow way that is probably a lot simpler than what we've done here. I've packed a lot into this lesson here. But, you know, if you join the academy, you get some really cool stuff. You get my book, The 6-String Lifer's Handbook, which is a spiral bound book. I've got a copy somewhere. You get that for free in the post, plus some custom made picks. Here's one I've been using with, you know, my logo on it, okay, which is really cool. I love this, and there's a black one. The red one's great for picking, the black one's great for strumming because it's slightly different. Okay, but you get that and you get some really cool stuff. And if you want to learn more theory as well, you can get a copy of this as well. Okay, all you got to do when you join is just let me know. I can either send you the PDF or the paperback or the spiral bound book of Guitarists Get Theory. Okay, I'll just ask you to cover the cost of postage if you want that, but it's not going to cost you a lot. Okay, the postage isn't much, but it depends where you are in the world. But you get a free copy, and this is my book, Guitarists Get Theory, which explains theory a lot more. And it breaks down what we've covered here into a lot more logical, bite-sized steps, okay? And the great thing about a book with theory is that you can just open it up, read a page, put it down, digest the information, come back to it later on. And that is the way to learn theory. This is one of those instances I find with music theory. It is really good to have a video, but books can be more powerful because you could just read a little chunk and digest it, okay? But having this video and that book together will be really powerful. So go to fingerstyle101.com/academy if you want that and you want more from me. If you want some other lessons and some freebies before you take that step, then go to fingerstyle101.com/free and you get some other really cool stuff there as well, okay? I'm all about the cool stuff, you know, giving you cool stuff. For me, it's all about just helping you become the best guitarist you can be and having loads of fun, and hopefully you enjoy my way of teaching, right? If you do and you want more lessons from me, then check out this as well here. This video up here is going to be really cool for you. All right, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.